In 2019, I published my very first book, and the title of that book was The Imposter in Charge. Soon after, probably 2020, maybe early 2021, I released another book, and it's called The Prosperity Principles. And I only released that one digitally, so it was basically an ebook, and it's a long form ebook. Right now, I'm working on my third book, and I've worked on many books over time, but I seem to get to the 75, 80%, level, and my inspiration moves to a different project, and I don't complete them. But and I also had, I don't know, these expectations of the length and the quality and all these things that kept me from releasing these books. But the third book that I'm in, and right now it is in the editing phase. So it is complete and it's ready to be edited and published. It will be published. And our goal is to have it digitally available at the beginning of the year. And then while we're releasing it and it's being made available digitally, then we'll work on the actual publication of the hard copy and maybe an audiobook. But this book is called Inner World, Outer World. And if you were to take a look at all of the books that I've either published or not published, they all have a common theme. And there's one element that's present in everything that I do. And that really is the focus on your relationship with yourself, our relationship with ourselves. Now, I can go back 8 years. My transformation really started in March of 2016. So I can go back over the last 8.5 years, and I can see a remarkable difference in not just the quality of my external life, because the quality of my external life, the life that I live, the time freedom that I have, the financial freedom that I have, the career / vocation / service, the mission that I serve in the world, it's completely drastically different, and it feels so good, and it's so aligned with who I am and what I want, and it's a privilege and an honor to be able to serve the people that I serve and create the podcast and the blog and the books and run my mastermind and run my community and have the one-on-one clients to do the speaking that I get to demonstrate and execute on a regular basis. These are all things that are very, very much a privilege in my life. And I feel I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do and serve the purpose that I serve in the world. So the quality of my external world is completely and radically different, and it's transformed in a powerful way. But there's a reason that my external world has transformed so radically. And that is the quality of my relationship with myself. And this is why in all of the work that I do in the world and in all of the coaching and all of the content that I create, I harp so much on the quality of your own relationship with yourself. And there's a remarkable difference between the quality of my relationship with myself before March 2016 and my relationship with myself now. In this episode, I want to dive really, really deep into what happened to, at the foundational level, to radically improve everything in my life. And it starts with that little voice that's in my head. Now, whether you know it or not, whether you've paid attention to it, whether you try to distract yourself from it, there's a little voice in your head, and there are these thoughts, and there are these beliefs, and there's this that you've got, the average human being has 120,000 thoughts per day, and a lot of them are unconscious, but if you really stop and pay attention, there's these thoughts, and there's this voice that it keeps firing off new thoughts and maybe new ideas and new expressions. And, maybe if you're anything like I was, then it's alerting you to so many dangers and threats. And it's trying to keep you safe, but it's pointing out all the things that could possibly go wrong, and it's causing a lot of pain in your life. Now, that voice from, before March 2016, that voice used to tell me a story about myself. It used to tell me that I was a piece of shit and I wasn't good at anything and I wasn't valuable and I wasn't significant. And I had to prove myself. I had to become worthy. I didn't deserve things. I didn't deserve happiness. I hadn't earned anything yet. That little voice was absolutely fucking brutal to me. That voice, those thoughts in my mind were completely disempowering. There were so many raw, negative, painful beliefs that I held about myself. And your beliefs create your thoughts. And from those poison, negative beliefs, so many poisonous negative thoughts were just present in my mind. And if you really put these together, negative beliefs about yourself will create negative thoughts, and negative thoughts about yourself create negative emotions. So the quality of your internal consciousness, your mind and your emotion, come from your beliefs. And when you believe raw and negative and painful things about yourself, you're going to think negative things about yourself, and you're going to feel negative things about yourself. And this is why I wrote the book called The Imposter in Charge. And the prosperity principles, there were 7 principles that I presented. The number 1 was complete love and acceptance of yourself. It was about healing your relationship with yourself. And in Inner World, Outer World, it really talks a lot about your relationship with who you are and understanding yourself at a very, very deep level, and understanding where your beliefs come from, and understanding how to create a healthier inner world, healthier relationship with yourself, so you can live a high quality external life as well. And that's why it's called Inner World, Outer World, because your internal state of consciousness creates the quality of your external consciousness and your quality of your life. And I like to say that the quality of your life is not in your bank account. The quality of life is in your body, in your mind, and in your emotions. And it all starts with your relationship with yourself, our relationship with ourselves. Now, when I look back at the voice and the messages that were in my mind, that were in my belief system back then, it's easy to think that was me talking to myself, and it wasn't. And this was the greatest epiphany that happened when I became aware of this. And when I share this with you, you get to dive in and you get to explore and understand this for yourself. And it's through a deeper understanding of what I'm about to share with you that helps you let go of all of those negative beliefs about yourself and all the negative thoughts and all the negative emotions, so that you can build a healthier relationship with yourself, so that you can experience a healthier inner consciousness, and then you can experience a healthier and happier and a more freeing and fulfilling external consciousness. Those negative beliefs that I held about myself, that I wasn't worthy, I wasn't deserving, that I was broken, I was flawed, there was something wrong with me, I was defective, I was full of shame, and I was full of guilt, and I was hurting, and I didn't feel valuable or worthy or deserving of anything good in my life. And I used to think that those were my beliefs and those were my thoughts, but they weren't. They were other people's beliefs and other people's thoughts. And they were programmed. I was programmed and conditioned to believe those things and think those things and feel those things by other people who thought those things and felt those things about themselves as well. And they were taught by other people who were full of negative beliefs and negative thoughts and negative emotions to believe negative things about themselves, so that we can continue to pass them on from generation to generation. For the first 7, maybe 10 years of your life, you are a subconscious, unconscious sponge. And what I mean by that is you At your early impressionable years, 0 to 7, 0 to 10, you do not possess the ability to be critical about what someone else is teaching you. When somebody teaches you that there's a Santa Claus, this guy that comes down a chimney that delivers presents, and you're 4, 5, 6 years old, when they teach you, what your mom and dad and teachers and pastors and whoever, aunts and uncles that you love in your life, family, when they teach you something like Santa Claus coming down your chimney, you do not possess the ability at a very, very young age, when you're in your most formative years, your most impressionable, you're most able to be conditioned and programmed by other people. You do not possess the critical ability or the ability to be critical about what somebody else is teaching you. So when they tell you there's this fat man that in a red suit that comes down the chimney and delivers presents, you don't possess the ability to think if that could be true or not. You just believe them. And then at some point, and if you're like me, it was right around 9 or 10 years old, at some point, those same people tell you that belief is not true. And then you get to believe something different, and they share a different reality with you. Now, hopefully you can see that how that worked in the Santa Claus story, and it happens with the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny, and it happens with, whatever. Maybe you can see how it happened or how it worked with you in those stories. But if your parents or teachers, aunts, uncles, pastors, priests, spiritual teachers, if they teach you that making money is hard, if they teach you that you have to work hard for your money, if they teach you that the world is dangerous, if they teach you that marriage is hard, if they teach you that whatever they teach you, if they're passing on disempowering beliefs to you, you don't possess the ability to be critical of those beliefs either. Just like you weren't able to be critical with the Santa Claus belief or the Tooth Fairy belief or the Easter Bunny belief. And when you're not able to be critical about what they're teaching you, you believe anything that they share with you because you love them, you respect them, you admire them, and you want for them to be right because they are authorities in your life and they are influential in your life. And you will work to believe what they tell you. And then because at 9 or 10, someone told me there wasn't a Santa Claus and I got to believe something different. If you're anything like me, no one ever told you later that the people that built those same negative beliefs, disempowering beliefs, someone doesn't tell you that making money isn't hard and you don't have to work hard for your money and life isn't dangerous and marriage isn't hard. So you continue to believe those same beliefs that were planted in you by people who believe these things because they were taught those things by people who believe them. So we keep passing them down from generation to generation. And then what happens is when you believe something and you're not critical about that belief, you don't question that belief, you don't challenge that belief. When you believe something is true and you don't question it, you don't see a different way, you create your reality from that belief. And you work hard to prove that belief instead of disprove that belief. And you'd rather be right about your belief than think a belief that's more inspired, that's more empowering, that makes life more freeing and fulfilling. And when you believe disempowering beliefs, you actually create circumstances in your life to prove your beliefs. And this is all unconscious. So it's operating below the level of your consciousness. When you believe something that's disempowering and you've convinced yourself over years that belief is true, at the unconscious level, you will set out to create circumstances and create a life that validates that belief. And when someone tells you that they share a different belief that's more empowering, that's more empowered, that's more inspired, that's more freeing and more fulfilling, that conflicts with your belief, you'll think they're full of shit. because you want to believe what you believe because you were taught this by people that you love. And you will think that they are idiots because they believe something different. And what's happening if they believe that making money is not hard and you don't have to work hard for your money and life isn't dangerous, then their life is really easy because they're going to prove those beliefs while you're busy proving that your disempowering beliefs are true. All because at some impressionable, conditionable, programmable age, you were taught disempowered things, disempowering things, painful, negative things that are created from insecurity, inadequacy, insignificance, some of the lower voices that we get to deal with. You were taught these things by people who lived in insecurity, inadequacy, insignificance. You're taught those beliefs, and then you set out on a course to prove them true for the rest of your life below the level of your consciousness. And when you believe negative things, you will have negative thoughts. And when you have negative thoughts, you will have negative emotions, all because it ties back to a period where you were impressionable, conditionable, and programmable, and you were gifted these beliefs by people that weren't living a very high quality life. And I can look back, and my mom and dad, my family, look, I don't want to give you the wrong impression. They loved me very, very much, but they were just doing the best they could. And they passed on a lot of painful, garbage ass beliefs to me about myself and themselves, about religion, about the world, about finances, about careers. I grew up in a lower middle class, blue collar steel worker home where that was embedded and embroiled in toxic religiosity. Like, and when I mean toxic, I'm talking about disempowered, where it was full of shame and full of guilt and full of like disempowered shit. Which healthy spirituality is empowering and uplifting. It doesn't create guilt or shame and inner conflict and inner turmoil in you to have you question your value and your worth. Healthy religion, healthy spirituality does not make you question yourself. It helps you to understand yourself and empower you and inspire you not to tear your own self down. And the religious environment that I was raised in was very disempowered. It had you question your worth, question your value, and feel shameful shit about yourself. And in that lower middle class union steelworker home, it was full of thoughts and beliefs that the man was out to get you. You got to work hard for your money. You got to be part of a union, or somebody's going to take advantage of you. That you've got to hide behind somebody else's shield and somebody else's logo to make money. That money flows from employer to employee, no other way. The rich are greedy. The rich are evil. The rich they're out for their own good, and they just build their wealth on the backs of the poor. All politicians are crooks. Right? The rich people are greedy and evil, and salespeople are slimy. All of these fucking disempowered beliefs were handed to me like on a freaking gold platter, silver platter, like they were doing me a favor by handing me all these negative fucking garbage ass beliefs. And some of those beliefs about me that they handed to me, that I was never good enough, that nothing was ever good enough, that I always had, if you rested, you were lazy, that if you didn't work all the time, then you were lazy. If you were doing things that was easy for you, that wasn't valuable, that making money was hard. I had to do hard things to be worthy and deserving of money. And I had to sacrifice, and I had to be stressed out, and I had to be just like dad was at work, just like his father was at his work, just like his father was. And it kept getting handed down from generation to generation. All because somebody believed it. They thought that was truth, and they passed that belief on as if it were truth. And then the next generation lived from that belief as if it was truth, without anybody ever questioning if it really was truth. And what I'll share with you is the difference between a belief and truth is a truth is true for every single person on the face of the planet. And a belief, if there's one exception, it's not truth. And I know a lot of people that don't work hard and they're very wealthy. Meanwhile, there are a lot of people that work very hard that are poor that believe that you have to work hard to make money. I was raised to basically be self-deprecative, to always question my value, to always question my worth, to not think good things about myself, to not feel good things about myself, to not look at my accomplishments and my achievements, to always look at what I wasn't instead of what I was, to always think that, to always feel that perfection is the only acceptable outcome. And when there's over 8 billion people on this planet, and there's not one perfect person on the planet. And if you feel like perfection is the only acceptable outcome, then you're going to reject yourself 99.9% of the time. When I stopped, as I stopped believing that I was broken, flawed, defective, imperfect, when I stopped, I guess, shaming myself for having desires, for having dreams, for having aspirations, for wanting nice things, for wanting to feel good, for when I allowed myself to begin to think valuable thoughts and feel valuable and to feel deserving and to feel and to think empowering things, and to stop feeling selfish, to stop feeling shameful, to stop believing that I was broken, flawed. I can't express this enough. When I chose to let go of these thoughts and these beliefs that there was anything wrong with me, then the shame and the guilt and the anger and the depression and the anxiety and the need to prove myself all was replaced by peace and freedom, fulfillment, love, and joy. But it was a process over the last 8 years of releasing the disempowering shit that was in my mind and my body and replacing it with empowered beliefs and thoughts and emotions. And now I choose to feel joy. I choose to feel peace. I choose to feel love. I choose to think awesome things about myself. And because of the awesome things I feel about myself, the awesome things I think about myself, I share that with other people. And I share how awesome they are and how awesome they can be and how awesome they can think about themselves and how awesome they can feel about themselves. And I share that message with them instead of breaking them down or hurting them. Because when I was hurting, I hurt people, and hurt people hurt people. And people who love themselves love other people hard. You can only love somebody else to the level that you love yourself. So hurting yourself in any capacity does nothing beneficial to you or your life. You cannot reject yourself and shame yourself and guilt yourself to a higher expression of wealth, success, and happiness. There is no useful value in berating yourself or in criticizing yourself or in questioning your worth or your value, in beating yourself down. But yet, for whatever reason, the world convinces us to some degree in many forms that we can't think and feel good things about ourselves for whatever reason. We've lived in this illusion, and people have shared with us from time to time, and including toxic religions and including people that are hurting themselves, that if you think good things about yourself and feel good things about yourself, then you're arrogant and egotistical, and that's unhealthy pride, and that you're going to hurt people because of that. But yet when you think good things about yourself and feel good things about yourself, you share that with other people, and it doesn't hurt them, it empowers them. The greatest change and transformation that's happened in my life is my relationship with myself and how I think and how I feel about myself. And that has created transformation in every other aspect of your life, of my life. And it can do the same for you. And all it takes is realizing when you're ready for the inner conflict to go away so that you can replace all of that inner turmoil and conflict with goodness and wholeness and completeness. And you can shift from insecurity, inadequacy, and insignificance into inspiration and do it from a complete place of forgiveness for yourself and love for yourself and acceptance of yourself. And then life will blossom into more freedom and fulfillment from that wholeness, that completeness, and that love for yourself. And that's how you make a greater impact in this world. And that's how you'll be able to share more love in this world. But I would encourage you, if you experience inner turmoil and inner conflict, if you shame yourself, if you guilt yourself, if you're constantly tearing yourself down, there is no way you can get from there to feel a greater sense of freedom and fulfillment. Freedom and fulfillment comes from letting go of all of the need for that, the addiction to that, and moving into a place of empowerment. But you got to empower yourself. No one can empower you. They can only give you permission to unlock your own empowerment. And that's what I'm doing in this episode. Hopefully that's what I've done in this episode. Give yourself permission today to think awesome things about yourself, to feel awesome things about yourself, to feel more valuable, more worthy, more deserving, more capable, more worthy of wealth, success, and happiness. Because that, in the end, that is your birthright.